Cover Gaming. Today I'm doing something a little bit different. Today I'm going to be reviewing a keyboard. So today I'm actually reviewing, I believe, I'm almost 95% sure, correct me if I'm wrong, that this is GameStop's brand of peripherals, Atrix. One thing that you'll notice is the price tag. It's $49.99. It's a mechanical switch keyboard and it's a brown switch keyboard. So the brown switch version is called a sniper keyboard, and I can assume that this is supposed to be marketed towards FPS players. Even though there is also a FPS line. So if you ever walked into a GameStop, you'll notice that they started bringing a lot more PC peripherals, a lot more components and things of that nature. And I believe this is their first step towards it. Now, just looking at the box, the packaging doesn't look anything crazy. It looks like a normal RGB keyboard that you'll find pretty much on Amazon. Like I said, only $50, so it's very affordable. And they actually give you a little like pass through here so you can touch the keys and feel what it's like. And pretty much that's all I've done with it, honestly. I'm about to open it myself for the first time. And I'll tell you one thing. I am not crazy about these keycaps. They feel like ABS keycaps. Pretty much those keycaps that you'll find in like a public library or like public school, really. The switch in itself, as a brown switch, it is one of those feedback switches where you could feel the actuation point midway, but without the click compared to a blue switch. This one, compared to most brown switches I've tried, even the Redragon K530, I believe it is, or Redragon's brown switches in general, which typically is going to be at the same price point, which I'll show a comparison later on in this video. The brown switches here, you don't feel as much feedback as I would in the Redragon counterpart, but that's not to say that they don't feel all right. I mean, like I said, it is a budget brand. It's you're not gonna get like the Cherry MX silver feeling or whatever it is that you would hope to find. So now we're actually gonna give this thing an actual opening and see what it's like when it comes to presentation, opening it, and what the entire keyboard feels like. What did I do? No, I'm just like tightly packed in here. Okay, so first thing from opening is you'll see like an instruction manual, or kind of a, well, it says user guide. Pretty much what's inside the box and how to change the lighting settings on it. I'm assuming that there's no software for it, which is kind of a letdown, honestly. But yeah, that's that. You have your USB cable that's directly attached to the keyboard, as well as the styrofoam around it, and that's about it. That's a bad angle. There you go. So that's what it looks like, not turned on, not plugged in. Well, yeah, have to plug it in to turn it on, obviously. That's what it is outside the box. Has a nice little cable management tie here. You know, like I said, it doesn't look anything crazy. Again, this is my first time pulling it outside the box. And after opening a Redragon keyboard, honestly, compared to the K630, which is a 60% keyboard as opposed to the 65% that this is, the arrow keys are a nice touch. That comes out to preference, really. Any other Redragon keyboard will actually have a better presence when you're opening it, and again, like I said, a little bit underwhelming compared to what you can also get for the price point. Now, as for a full keyboard set, the switches actually feel nice and tight compared to the arrow keys here that, you know, is on that pass through from the box. There's not much play within the keycaps. Again, not a big fan of the keycaps. So when it comes to the return point, it's actually very quick. It does feel kind of springy. Again, it is a brown switch, so it isn't as smooth as, say, the red leaner switch. Again, that comes down to preference. Me personally, my preference changes every time I try a new keyboard. But all in all, it's not a bad brown switch keyboard for the price. Again, just to reiterate one more time, the keycaps, not the biggest fan. Keycaps, you can get putting caps that'll help the RGB. We'll take a look when when we plug it in. Honestly, it doesn't look the best when it comes to its marketing, whether online or on the box. But putting caps could help that as well, and probably give you a better feel for it while using it. So let's actually plug this in and see what the RGB functions look like, and see what actually different lighting modes we can get out of it. Okay, to begin with the first lighting effect that you can cycle through by hitting the FN key and the I and S button. You have the touch sensitive keys, which go across a single row. Next, let's see what we have here. So this looks like a red breathing effect here. Now the RGB isn't very bright. Like I said, that's something that the putting caps can help, and changing the keycaps would be something that I do recommend doing on this keyboard. Now we have its disco mode, which is also pretty nice. This will be the ripple effect that it has, the touch sensitive ripple effect. Very fast. Disappears very quick, honestly. That's something I wish that I have the software for. Now, one thing you can do is you can record your own lighting mode on it, or lighting preset, I should say. You can save up to 5. Now, this will be your classic rainbow at full brightness. But if you see my channel, you know that I like gameplays. And so we're going to put this to the actual test. We're going to play a game of Valorant on it, see how it fares to my current keyboard, which is a Mecha Membrane keyboard. It's the Razer Ornata V2. I'm not too crazy about the keyboard, but I do love the green switches, honestly. So let's see how it feels in an actual game where movement and quickness is actually important. Okay guys, verdict time. Now this is the Redragon K530, and honestly, this is the winner of today. To start with, why I would prefer and recommend if you were to try to get a budget keyboard. It's around the same price, maybe $2 or $3 difference, depending on where you get it from. The switches, they sound and feel a lot better. It is also a brown switch keyboard. It does feel more responsive, and the actuation point actually does feel a bit smoother, and it does feel like it gives you more feedback. Now, as far as sound goes, I'll let you guys be the decider on that. So I'm going to click this into the mic. Now, one thing about this, it does have an aluminum backplate, so you do hear that noise. If you're really, yamming down on it and in a super quiet room, honestly. If not, then 9 times out of 10, you're not going to hear it. Now, big features that are also a big difference from the Atrix Sniper series here, which I still have running on here. One, RGB. Redragon has its own software for it. It is more or less fully customizable. It's nothing like Razer Chroma or HyperX's equivalent of that, but it does have software. It does make switching through RGB features a lot simpler, a lot easier, and customization a lot better. Now, I know these have pink keycaps. Usually if you're going with the white version, it will have white keycaps that aren't pudding caps like these, and if you're going with the black version, it will have the black keycaps with the glow through font. In addition to the features that it comes with, this can be wireless as opposed to the Sniper series here. A major plus about it being wireless is you can have it wireless up to 3 devices with a seamless switch that has this selection here. It's a switch. You go from B1, B2, B3 via Bluetooth connectivity. And if you just want the wired connection, you also have that option via USB-C port. This one is not the latest updated model, it is the one before it. But the latest updated model also has the option for a USB-C plugin if your computer supports it, but with a USB-A adapter, which is 90% going to be on your computer unless you're using something like the old MacBook that hates port. Just to circle back real quick to the keycaps that I'm talking about, the keycaps that come with the keyboard actually feel good. They kind of give you more of a PBT keycap rather than the ABS feel. But I do like pudding caps and I like my RGB to be showing through. And one major difference, and again, this comes down to preference, that this is a 60% keyboard. So it doesn't have the arrow keys, it doesn't have the 10 keys, it doesn't have page up, page down, those things. It ends where your shift and enter button. Now, price point is a very important topic especially for the premise of this video. It is both budget brands. Now, if you are looking for something with arrow keys or even with the full 100% keyboard, Redragon does offer those options, whether you're looking on Amazon, Best Buy, Walmart, or their store itself. And most of it's going to be around the same price range as the $50 price tag that the Sniper series has here. Me personally, I lean towards brown switches, and it depends on the red switch. That's neither here or there. But now when it comes to your own personal choices, I will say that Redragon does have a better option when it comes to different models. You have, for example, for the K530, you could choose between the brown switch or the red switch. Now, if you wanted to do that with the Atrix Sniper series, you would have to go with a different series. I believe you could go with the FPS series that will have the red switch. In terms of switches, one thing that's also important is that the K530 series also has hot swappable switches. Once in the box, they actually ship you with a few extra switches. You'll have a few extra brown switches, one red switch, one blue switch, one brown switch, and one black switch as well. Take them out. It comes with the switch puller. You put them in, see which one you like the most. And if you make your decision, you can completely change out the switches on the keyboard. Now, I am not an expert on fully customizable keyboards or build-it-yourself keyboards. But when it comes to those options and pulling out the keycaps as well as the switches, you're getting something pretty close to a build-it-yourself keyboard for about, I'd say, half the price to a quarter of the price. Now, last but not least, and this is something that's also kind of important, build quality. So they both have a plastic casing. The Redragon has an aluminum plate behind it, and the Sniper series has a plastic one. Build quality, the plastic feels about the same. Nothing really feels any type of flimsy. I will say that the stands here do feel like they can break if you move it the wrong way by accident. The Redragon, not so much. It feels like a bit of a sturdier keyboard. For a smaller keyboard, it is more densely packed. It's a bit heavier. Now, my final verdict on the Sniper series from Atrix/GameStop is it's not a bad keyboard. It's not horrible. I'm not really disappointed. Now, if you were to test it through the little pass-through that it has on the box, you wouldn't really like it. It kind of feels different on the arrow keys. I'm playing with it here. It just blows my mind that it feels different than the entire keyboard itself. You will look into something as to buying a set of keycaps, whether you want pudding caps, whatever it is, jelly caps, whatever it is. I highly recommend it. I just don't like how these feel. When it comes to the keys, though, they're pretty sturdy. They don't wobble as much as the They don't wobble as much as the arrow keys do. So it's kind of a turn off there when you actually think about it or look at it. That if you're to go into a GameStop store and give it a try and use it through the pass-through, you'd probably turn away from it because it's not really a direct one-to-one of how the entire keyboard is. And by no means is it a bad keyboard, but ultimately, after reviewing it and messing around with it, if you're going to spend $50 on a keyboard and you want something good and you want something that's really going to feel nice for you, I do recommend going with something like the K530, the K630, or something from Redragon. Honestly, a lot of people turn away from it because it is third party. Ultimately, Redragon is a growing company, and I like this keyboard a lot. I just had fun with it. Honestly, it's nice, small, and compact. Now, you don't have to do something with the 60%, but it feels nice. I like the way it feels when I type. It's densely packed, it feels sturdy enough, and to me this is a clear winner over the Sniper series. Now, with that being said, if you don't trust Redragon and you'd rather go with the Atrix, this isn't a bad keyboard at the end of the day. I know I've said that already, but I have to reiterate. One thing I will say about the switches though, as I'm playing with it still, just because it is kind of fun to do, it does sound that they still need to be lubed. You kind of hear like this scratching from it. And I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure if it's from the ABS keycaps or the switch itself, but it really seems like it's something from the switch, and that's kind of a turn off the more that I play with it, honestly. You guys can hear this. Yeah, it's kind of like a little scraping noise, so that actually took another point off of that. Ultimately, it's something that comes down to preference. Again, unfortunately, if you were to go through the pass-through with it, you're not going to get the actual feel of the keyboard. Atrix does have a few different keyboards. They have the Guild series, they have their FPS series. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun making it. If you guys want to see more of it, please like, share, subscribe, and let me know if there's any other keyboards that you want me to review.